We're going to take a look at the section of the Hawk form called Hawk tumbling. So I'll just show you the form first, and then we'll go through and show you the applications. We can put fighting applications to all of the movements, but again, they're just tools. They're there to develop your body, and then whatever you can get out of them or whatever you can make work, then by all means keep. But if you think that it's probably not a good thing for you or you're not that particular about it, then just move on. There's 100 different techniques that will cover the same thing. First of all, we have these parries and these movements here. Now, this is more for the body mechanics and momentum. This is for generating power. So if we're working for a left punch, the first movement, this high movement coming over, is going to be just a parry. So the idea is, it's just a little parry like this. It's a very good developmental drill for working with your guard, because when you're in this guard position and the punch comes, you can just step off, and that little deflection is the same body mechanics, and that just allows you to expose that outside line. Now the follow-up is the double palm that comes around. So as the first one comes up, the hand comes round and it strikes to the back of the head. Again, quite a pretty good shot. If you can work with the momentum as it comes round, it's very universal. There's nothing that's too special about it. It's just about trying to make a really heavy contact on the turn. Now, the next few are going to be a little bit more precise. We see this especially in the Wudang hand weapon, the sword. So this next movement here, I'm going to clear from underneath. So as the punch comes in, my hand comes up. Now I clear from underneath, the hand takes over the bridge, and I'm going to circle the hand round and then cut down the neck. Okay? So it chops straight down on the side of the neck. And with the first one, I'm going to do my turn. The idea is that you're going to be working against a couple of opponents at the same time. But this movement, as you clear off, you can either take it as a separate grab, so the grab can go on. Again, this is only a very traditional thing, but you clear off the grab, then the next punch comes in, you parry this one, and then the hand comes over and strikes down to the neck. There's a ton of different combinations you can work with it, but the idea is that the hand circles in that almost figure eight pattern, and you can really generate some good power from very short range. Now, as we come through the next one, we do exactly the same thing. We clear from underneath, we do the figure eight, and then we generate the power from a very short range again. So it might be that this time, as the punch comes in, we hook the punch out, circle around, and cut down the neck. Let's say if Dan throws a punch and it comes round here, then I can open up the bridge on the inside. I'm not close enough to get to the neck, but what I can do is I can change and just step in and strike straight into the stomach points that are on the top of the chest. So I can strike into here. I can even turn it up and strike into the face as well. Obviously not something that you want to be doing when you're just practicing, but what it's going to do is it tells you how to rechamber that energy ready for another strike. Now, the next bit is the nice bit where after our straight palm, we're going to get our wrist roll into the grab. So if Dan grabbed onto my wrist, this is the correct way to do it for the form. So what we need to do is we need to take the hand on the outside and reattach. We then step around, and using this hinge movement, we're going to strike up onto triple heater 11, which is just above the elbow, and that's going to hyperextend the joint. So that's the traditional application of it. Again, it works okay. It's probably not something that you're going to really be able to do in a self-defense situation. But the nice thing is you get to work these as little drills that are really good for development and also very good for keeping yourself healthy. So you're going to get the grab, you're going to turn that over and you're going to reattach, and then you're going to step around and strike, boom. Now in the form, we go into our walking posture, but all we're going to do as a fighting application, or to understand how we can use this, is that as Dan grabs on, again, we work the wrist roll into the back, reattach, strike straight up underneath onto triple heater 11. That's going to snap the arm. Now the hand pushes through, again changing the position of the elbow up, and it strikes in. So as we step around, we can slam into the back of the arm. Then as we come through, the hand comes up and cuts down on the back of the neck, or sorry, cuts down on the side of the neck. So if we spin that round, I'll show you from the other side. So again, if at any point you get grabbed, obviously we're not really thinking about this punch at this time, but the technical part of this movement is up and reattach, step around and strike, keeping that hand low. Then the hand comes underneath. In the form, again, we turn to the back, but we don't have to go that far. We just step through, trying to get the elbow underneath the arm so it releases the power this way. So as it comes through, we strike back, and we can take that round to the side of the jaw or even up to the temple. So that's the whole section of how to work it with a partner, but you still need to develop all of those components independently. The difference when we're going through applications in the form and when we're going through applications with a partner, you have to start to adapt things, because this is the whole essence of taking your martial art and making it your own. Now, if we go through that section, and just to show you a couple of the adaptations that you can make. So from here, this bit stays the same. We've got to bring it up and we take control of that bridge. Now, as we step around in the form, you're going to strike into the arm with the fingertips pointing down. You'll see it more commonly with the arm up, and you'll crunch in this way, simply because it's a much better position. The reason why you do it in Bagua is probably more to do with the internal rotation of the shoulder and keeping the joints healthy. It makes no sense to do this in that manner other than just the practice and the variety. So when you get the grab on here, if I step round and I strike in with the elbow here, it means that I stay in guard. If I strike here, yes, I can access the ribs and underneath here, but it makes it very difficult for me to defend against this shot here. So firstly, it's a comfort thing. Secondly, it depends on the height of the person. If I was a lot taller, this would be a lot easier. If I was a lot shorter, it would be near enough impossible without me just lifting the arm. So always when you're working with a partner, you take the applications and you say, right, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. Is there a better way to do it? Because you don't want to train bad habits. So this is something that I would much prefer, which means that if that punch comes over a punch, that means that I can pick up that punch, or at least gives me some cover behind it. Once we go into the next strike, if I'm doing it traditionally, I will strike into the elbow, and then the hand comes up, I change the position, and then I chop into the neck or into the side of the head. If I was a lot taller and I step around, I might want to come over the top, because that allows me a lot more space, and it also allows me to pull my opponent down so I can strike in. So that's just how I'm going to adapt it. So as we're moving through, with all of the applications, when you're going through your forms, make sure that they make much more sense to you, and also try to adapt them slightly so you can get the best out of your training. Because if you can find a much more efficient way of crunching this elbow, then it's going to leave you a lot more options for then following up when you strike into your opponent. So just sticking to the form is a great thing whilst you're doing the form, but if you're trying to do it as part of an application, you're going to have to adapt absolutely everything, even if it's just by a little bit.